Good afternoon, everyone. Regis alum and friends. My name is Stacy Shea, and I'm the Interim Vice President of Institutional Advancement. I'm thrilled to welcome you to the 2020 Cape Cod Luncheon. While we wish we could all be together on beautiful Cape Cod, we're grateful to keep this annual tradition alive and host the event virtually. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope you all enjoyed your time together with your classmates, and I'm sorry for those of you that got kicked out. Before the speaking program officially begins, I did want to mention a few housekeeping notes. The first is that today's event will be recorded. The second is that I would ask that everyone keep themselves muted during the speaking program. We will have two different opportunities throughout the program to address any questions you might have. And to ask a question, we're just asking that you please submit via the chat feature to Molly Zuccarini. So the chat feature is at the bottom of your screen, and you'll see it'll say you can either send a message to everyone, or you can choose on a drop-down menu Molly Zuccarini. You can just post your question to her. I am now going to invite Carol Donovan, class of 59, to lead us in the opening prayer. So thank you, Carol.
Stacey, I apologize. We just got word Carol is locked out. So Kristen's going to pinch hit for us, and we're going to work on getting Carol in.
Okay, well then, Kristen.
Thank you. Father, creator of all, thank you for summer. Thank you for the warmth of the sun and the increased daylight. Thank you for the beauty I see all around me and the opportunity to be outside and enjoy your creation. Thank you for the increased time I have to be with my friends and family, and for the more casual pace of the summer season. Draw me closer to you this summer. Teach me how I can pray, no matter where I am or what I am doing. Warm my soul with the awareness of your presence and light my path with your word and counsel. As I enjoy your creation, create in me a pure heart and a hunger for a thirst for you.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Kristen, for that lovely blessing. I'd also like to take this time to introduce you to the institutional advancement team members who are here with us today. So I just asked my team members to just give a wave as I introduce you. We have Alexis Baum, who's our Senior Director of Advancement Communications and Donor Relations. Jayanthi Srinath, Executive Director of Advancement Services. Susan Kennedy, class of 81, Director of Internships and Career Development. Molly Zuccarini, our Director of Alumni Relations. Kristen Gondola, class of 2012, our Associate Director of Alumni Relations. One of our newest team members, Julie Flanagan Dowd, class of 94, who is our Annual Fund Leadership Giving Officer. Louise Sennett, who is our Executive Assistant. Jennifer Thomas, class of 2008, who is our Advancement Services Assistant. And Teresa O'Neill, who is our Advancement Services Administrator. I thought I did see Lisa Glickstein on here at one point, but I'm not sure she's here anymore, but she's our Corporate and Foundation Relations Director. Okay, so as I mentioned before, we'll host a short Q&A session after President Hayes speaks, and then again after our healthcare heroes speak. So you can, again, just submit your questions, send them to Molly via the chat feature at the bottom of the screen. And with that, I am pleased to welcome Regis's 10th president, Dr. Tony Hayes.
Thank you, Stacy. And it is wonderful to see you all today, even if it is remote. I appreciate how much I wish we could all be together and be sharing a glass of wine or a Cape Cod or whatever on the shores of the Cape. But we're together, and that's the most important thing. I hope those of you are fortunate enough to be on the Cape anyway, that you're enjoying that gorgeous weather. But no matter what, wherever we are, the weather is lovely, and I think it might be quite lovely as well in South Carolina, as from what I hear. And but it's so important that we can stay connected virtually. 2020 has been an incredibly challenging year for all of us across all dimensions of our lives. But I do hope that you and your families and your friends are doing well and are staying healthy. And if you have had to deal with the virus at all, I'm glad you're here with us now, because so many people lost loved ones during the spring semester. As a nurse, I've never seen anything like this. Hearing the stories of many of our nursing alums and students who've been on the front lines has been difficult. And I've used the expression that they're heartbreaking, but heartwarming. You'll hear from a couple of our heroes today and the work that they've been doing to help our communities and support people who are in need. Thankfully, Massachusetts has done well in getting the virus under control, but we're seeing it start to spread again and increase numbers here in Massachusetts. But it's also very, very hard to see how quickly the virus is spreading throughout our country. It's very, very scary. I am grateful to our healthcare heroes, especially those who've been through our nursing programs at Regis, who are working so hard to keep us safe. Massachusetts was one of the first states to institute a very robust contact tracing effort in partnership with Partners in Health. I was so proud of that because I'm on the board of Partners in Health. And as an organization, they've done wonderful, wonderful things to stop the spread of various epidemics across the world in many third world countries. Who better to help us here? And we needed their help desperately. And it's been incredible. And it has been a big reason why Massachusetts was able to get the virus under control. Charlie Baker called on college students as well to help us. And I'm proud to say that we had Regis students who participated in the contact tracing through the state of Massachusetts. And we've continued to have students hired from nursing and health, some of the health science areas have been hired by Partners in Health to do the major contact tracing that they've been implementing as well. There's a great story in the latest Regis Today magazine, which you may have gotten as a hard copy, but it's also fully online for you, about two of our students who worked in the contact tracing effort. And it'll be fun to hear from the other students that have also been in the front lines. It truly is an unprecedented time for all of us, and it's uncertain. You know, Father Paul Kilroy, our chaplain at Regis, came to visit me yesterday, because he has a place in New Hampshire, and so we had some time to visit. And we talked a lot about how unsettling it is to have so much uncertainty about tomorrow, never mind a month from now. And I frequently say to my team, and I said to him as well, I said, I just want to get to December. Last week, I had to make a really tough decision to bring the majority of our students, to not bring our students back to campus for the fall semester. We were increasingly hearing from faculty who wanted to stay remote. We were increasingly hearing from students who wanted to stay remote. And yet we have to have the ability to support students to complete and work towards the completion of their degrees. So we are partially open as a campus for students in programs that must live in the Boston area so that they can continue their clinical work, or else they wouldn't be able to progress in their programs. Otherwise, students that do not need to be in Massachusetts or in the Boston area will not be coming back to campus for this semester only. Initially, as well as the numbers of positive corona tests continued to go down over the summer, we had hoped without a doubt that we would bring everyone back. But in fact, the trend is going in the other way, in the other direction now. So it was, for me, I listened to our students, I listened to our staff and faculty, and it was clear that it was the right decision to support the health and safety of the Regis community by keeping our campus restricted and only bringing students back who absolutely needed to be on campus in order to progress. Anyone who's on campus will have to follow our what we call our testing protocol. They will be tested on a weekly basis, and depending on the results of the testing, we may have to increase it to more than once a week. But at this time, with the numbers being as small as they will be on our campus, we're going to be testing them on a weekly basis. We're in partnership with the Broad Institute, which is out of Harvard and MIT, that's working with all of our higher ed institutions here in Massachusetts in order to be able to open campuses safely. We call it surveillance testing, so that it's asymptomatic testing, because we know that this particular age group, the 18 to 22 age group, can be a carrier of the virus without knowing it and never develop symptoms. So while we will do diagnostic testing, which is related to people who become symptomatic, we will also be doing surveillance testing on a weekly basis to catch anyone who might be an asymptomatic carrier. So it was a big decision. It was a tough decision. But the health and safety is the #1 priority. We are once again pivoting, and the most important thing is the academic continuity. Because of the fact that we have had such robust experience in the online world with our graduate programs, we have about almost 2,000 students fully online. We had the experience to be able to make that pivot in March, and we continue to take advantage of that incredible experience and the resources we have and the expertise in the faculty that we have to be able to pivot back to a fully remote semester. The campus will be open, but as I said, with restricted access. At this time, we are hoping to remotely to open in January, but time will tell, and we'll learn a lot about the virus over the course of the next few months. And those peers of ours who have insisted that they're still going to open, there will be a lot to learn from what they experience. As you can imagine, a lot of the communities that these universities are in are asking them not to open because they're very concerned about the thousands of 18 to 22-year-olds who will be showing up in the Boston area, in the Worcester area, and it is very concerning to the people who live in those communities. But at this time, the larger schools are still opening, but Harvard is pretty much going remote for the undergraduates. MIT is only welcoming freshmen in the fall semester, and then in the spring, there will only be seniors on campus. And there are other schools that are following Regis's lead in terms of making the decision to stay remote for the fall as well. So we're not alone in this, but for all of us, an incredibly difficult decision. As far as Regis and where we're heading, we have many plans for January. We anticipate not only returning to campus, but also a growth in our enrollment, both at the graduate and the online areas. Those are still holding very, very strong in terms of enrollments. And we're launching a fully online nursing program for pre-licensure, but those that already have a degree. I don't know if any of you are interested, but if you already have an undergraduate degree, then you could become a nurse with a bachelor's degree in just 15 months. And that's going to be offered fully online, and we're seeing incredible interest in that from all over the country. So we anticipate not only returning to campus and bringing students back into the dormitories or the residence halls, sorry, that shows my age, but that we'll also have a growth in enrollment. My team and I meet every single day. We have groups that are working on various aspects of the opening plan, and also academic groups working on various courses that are being offered. And I should tell you about a very, very exciting course that's been developed for this coming year, and it's called Living Through the Pandemic. And it will address from a multidisciplinary perspective all of the issues that this pandemic has surfaced, in particular, the disparities that this virus has really exacerbated, I guess is the best way to describe it. And so we're going to be looking at it from a health perspective, an ethical perspective, an epidemiological perspective, a social science perspective, as well as from well, I guess epidemiologically, but even more importantly, the whole issue of economics and politics as well, that will be together for this course. Already very, very popular, and it may be something that we will be offering even modules of that to our alums. That's something that we've been discussing because we think it's something that you might find incredibly valuable and interesting. And it's, again, showcasing our incredible faculty as well and the interdisciplinariness of the work that we do. I'm so grateful to the faculty and the staff who have worked tirelessly over the summer and in the spring before that to make sure that our students continued and had as robust as possible remote experience. As we plan for the fall, everyone is coming together again to do what needs to be done to make sure we stay connected to the students, especially our freshmen. And now that we don't have an athletic program because our conference was also canceled this year, the students that are athletes that typically have that connection with their coaches and with their teammates, we're working very hard to make sure that we can still provide that kind of connection to the students remotely. It will be very different. This is like nothing we've ever experienced, and certainly nothing that I would have ever expected as I enter my 10th year of this presidency. We will get through this. I know we will. I do see the light at the end of the tunnel. I assure you that your help and your support is incredibly important. As you know, we have reached out to many alums and other donors for the help for the emergency fund. That emergency fund has been helping us with some of the changes we've had to make to campus as we even prepare for January, and also for the students that will be returning to campus in the fall. But also for students who have had significant hardship as a result of the coronavirus, whether it's families losing jobs, working and trying to do their remote classes in an environment that's not very conducive to learning, maybe because there's 3 other of their siblings also trying to be on the same internet, and in small living quarters trying to do this remote work. So finding ways where we've been able to support those students through the emergency fund has also been helpful, even helping with paying rent and helping with food needs. So we appreciate all the help that you've given us. And when we did that outreach, it was incredibly successful. And I would say to you, keep it coming, because this is not going away quickly. But we will continue to stay connected to you. And I look forward to anything that you would want to talk to me about. I'm happy to have one-on-one Zoom meetings with any of you. And I certainly know that Stacy and Molly will stay in touch with you so that if something comes up and you want us to have another gathering, I'm happy to do that. And the next time it'll be at 5, so we can all have that glass of wine together. We'll be shining a light on our Regis healthcare heroes, honoring them for their great work on the front lines. And we'll have more information about the virtual event that will be our gala that's going to be in October. So that should be interesting. We're still trying to figure out how that's going to look like. But we are hoping to still bring us all together in celebrating our successes at Regis and celebrating our students, and in particular, the frontline heroes. Thank you again for being here. It is a pleasure to see all of you, and I truly hope to see you all in person for the next Cape Cod Luncheon. But in the meantime, let's have another gathering and have that glass of wine, but it's got to be at 5 o'clock. Thank you. I can take any questions that you may have now.
President Hayes, we had a few questions about the pandemic course being available to alumni, if that's something that would be available online in the future.
I'm thinking that this might be some modules of it and some of the discussion groups that are going to be part of it. And Mary Lou Jackson, who's my special assistant for mission, is leading this effort. This course went through all of the approvals that we have, the processes for approval. And but there are areas during the course where even if you're not taking the full course, people can participate in the discussion groups. So I think we should be reaching out to Mary Lou and see how we might be able to incorporate ways for the alums to join us.
Thank you. It's also, I think, a nice time to mention that if anyone was looking to take a course online, we do have our Lifelong Learning at Regis course, program known as LARC. So actually Jill Rosen, who's the executive director, and I have a meeting to roll out some of the LARC programs to our alumni. So you'll be seeing some more information about that in your email.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There are benefits to remote. There are people here that might not have been able to be at the Cape Cod Luncheon, but we're here together anyway. And what we found is, well, you know, it's been hard for us, but there have been some positives. We've been able to do more outreach to people that would otherwise not be able to be in person. And so here we have opportunities for people join the LARC program who might otherwise not be able to, because it was always in person. So we're learning a lot too about how we can benefit from the experiences we're having remotely, as well as the fact that we really are pretty good at this. And while we had a few glitches and people not getting into their rooms this morning, the truth is that we have a lot of experience and expertise to make this a very positive experience for all of us, students, alums, staff, and faculty. More questions?
Any more questions?
I think you covered it all, President Hayes. No one has any questions over here.
All right. Well, again, if something comes up, please don't ever hesitate. Shoot me an email, and I would love to communicate with you in any capacity. So please stay in touch.
Thank you so much, President Hayes, for being with us today. Okay, it is now my pleasure to introduce you to our first healthcare hero. Karina Gomes will be entering her senior year as the fall semester begins next week at Regis. She will graduate in May 2021 with her Bachelor of Science in Nursing. She has spent this summer working for Century Bank as a COVID-19 nursing assistant screener. So please welcome Karina.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that introduction. Hello, everyone. Although I'm not able to meet you all and speak to you in person, it's been an honor to be invited here today. So this coming fall is my last year as an undergraduate student at Regis College. I really love academia, and Regis is going to make my departure even more difficult because I have had such a great experience learning here. And this is why I love opportunities to speak about my experiences like today. I'm the youngest daughter of immigrant Portuguese parents. I'm a first-generation student, as well as the first in my immediate family to go to college. My parents have worked in the restaurant business their whole life, but they encouraged me from a young age to go into a healthcare or a science-based career. I didn't know what I wanted to major in specifically, but I had my heart set on Regis for a while. The small campus-sized suburban campus in the beautiful city of Weston, and the opportunity to receive an amazing scholarship. I decided to choose a Bachelor of Science in Nursing as my major, figuring that I would actually end up switching out of it. I had always heard it was a difficult major, and I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. But unbeknownst to me, I actually fell in love with nursing through my academics and clinical experiences at Regis. Initially, my pharmacology and acute care and nursing classes had me very passionate about nursing. They taught me all about medications and complications regarding medical procedures. These classes showed me that learning in nursing never ends, and that's something that I always wanted in a career. I also had unforgettable clinical experiences. One of my favorites had to be when I witnessed a Whipple procedure at Mass General Hospital, where I saw a patient get his pancreas removed. And these are all experiences I never thought I would be able to have in my undergraduate studies. However, the experience that surprised me the most was my untraditional job being a nursing assistant for Century Bank this past summer. This was a job opportunity that was presented to me through Regis College. I was a COVID screener for all of the North Shore and Medford branches. Not only was it my job to assess employees for symptoms of COVID, but I was primarily a resource for these employees. I felt as if many of these employees were nervous to go back to work. However, they appreciated a nursing assistant who could provide them solid answers during a scary and unpredictable time. On a personal level, this job has taught me a lot as well. I was able to interact with people who trusted me, and it was my first time from going to a student to a teacher. I never predicted a global pandemic to happen during my college career. However, Regis College gave me the tools to feel confident working on the front lines now and for the rest of my nursing career. One of the best things about Regis College is that you're allowed to branch out of academics and experience things outside of your major. For example, this past spring, I went on a service trip to Puerto Rico with 12 other Regis College students. It was led by the Dean of Students, Walt Hortner, who is one of the most remarkable people on this campus, and I'm so unfortunate to have known him during my time at Regis. We worked on a house that was affected by Hurricane Maria, as well as cleaning up El Yunque, which is the only national rainforest in the States. It really solidified my decision of becoming a nurse, because I realized nursing is not just helping people, but it's about serving people. I was also lucky enough to receive the Presidential Catholic School Scholarship, and it is a gift that I will never be able to repay. It is the reason I chose Regis College and the reason I chose to become a nurse. I have learned so many lessons in and outside of the classroom at Regis, and that is thanks to the donors who have graciously offered me this opportunity. I do not know where I would be without this scholarship, as it has set the precedent for my college career. I have gained countless skills during my time at Regis, ones that will prepare me long after my departure, and for that I am ever grateful and fortunate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karina. We wish you all the best as you enter your senior year and look forward to seeing what's next for you after Regis.
Thank you.
Karina, are you going to be commuting, or are you going to be one of our special students on campus?
I'm very grateful that I'm going to be living on campus because my clinicals are pretty close to Regis, to Weston. So definitely living on campus. I'm grateful to have that for sure.
Great. So I'll see you there.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much. We will now have the opportunity to hear from a young alum, Justin Resil. Justin graduated from Regis in 2018 from our accelerated nursing program, where he earned his Bachelor of Science and Master of Science degree in nursing with a concentration in family practice. Justin spends his days working for his family's clinic, Resil Medical Associates, as a family nurse practitioner. During the beginning of this pandemic, Justin worked for Boston Hope Center, an organization looking for medical providers and healthcare professionals within the community to help treat homeless patients who were affected by the virus. So please join me in welcoming Justin.
Hello, it's great to be with you all today. I also am a descendant of an immigrant parent from Haiti, as well as from the Cape Verde Islands, and they both also prize the medical field as well. So I definitely can coalesce with Karina on that point. I began my nursing career about 6 years ago. As an undergraduate at Pensacola Christian College, I changed from a studio art degree to a biology degree. I had gone through a couple of life events that had caused me to refocus my priorities. After I graduated in 2013, I decided to enroll at Regis to study nursing in the Accelerated Bachelor's Master's Degree program with a concentration in family practice. and I thankfully graduated in 2018. I currently operate at my family's clinic, Resil Medical Associates, as an FNP. We complete primary care for the greater portion of our patients. However, we have also incorporated many new medical services, including immigration medical exam services, physical exams for members of the Department of Transportation, and various cosmetic services, including almond body contouring. In addition, I'm also working as a preceptor for Regis as well, which has been a very interesting treat, transitioning from being a student and a clinician to now a teacher as well. Right now, I'm also continuing through the DNP program with Regis through the online program. In relation to today's focus, I believe we all have a story on how our individual worlds changed in similar and dissimilar ways during the pandemic. In December 2019, the outbreak was announced to the world. Given that the virus originated in Wuhan, China, many questions and concerns arose among clinicians and lay people alike regarding the virulence of the disease. Within the demographics that I commonly engage with, other questions that were more specific began to cross my mind. I deal with many patients of color. In many circumstances, patients of color, especially Black African American patients, commonly are the most affected by illness and disease due to a multitude of factors, including inadequate funding, lower levels of education, and an inability to access the healthcare system due to area of habitation, lack of transportation, and a lack of significant health insurance. Additionally, because I work with many clients who have immigrated to the States, there was also a language barrier. Many of these clients would have questions and may not have understood the severity of the issues, as many of the major news outlets were delivering the stories in English. Therefore, it fell to me and my co-clinicians to address the knowledge deficits that our patients possessed. Some of the hurdles and major changes that our clinic experienced was a decrease in in-house visits, followed by an increase in telephone calls and telehealth visits, major disinfection of our clinic, and reduced hours, among many other dilemmas. This virus would not limit itself to affecting my professional life, but also my personal life. For one, I was unable to attend my church, which I view as an additional family. Due to the growing concerns of possibly spreading the virus to my family, I began considering alternative methods for entering my house, in addition to considering whether I should be staying at home at all. My mother, due to her health issues, stood at risk for a more violent reaction to the virus, and thus I had to enact a quasi-quarantine from her. Within my own family, one of my cousins and aunts contracted the virus. Though they would go on to quickly recover from the illness, I lost an uncle to the virus and nearly lost another who remained in the ICU for many weeks before slowly making a recuperation. This virus has no qualms about who it takes, nor the devastation it has left in its path. As the pandemic extended into March and April, I felt the need to make and take a more active role. I began looking for emergency sites that were looking for aid. I found a commission by the Boston Hope Center that was looking for medical providers and healthcare professionals within the local area to help assist and treat the many homeless patients of the greater Boston area who had been affected by the virus. The quality level of the field hospital astounded me, given how quickly the place had been repurposed. During my first floor meeting with the team lead, I had a by chance encounter. Given that all the workers were in full PPE with N94 face masks, facial barriers, gloves, and hazmat suits, it became difficult to identify who anyone was without the use of name tags. I looked across at another teammate whose voice strangely sounded familiar. I looked at the clinician's name tag and saw that the lady's name was Anna. I asked her if her last name was Gomes, to which she startled and replied yes, inquisitively. I realized that my new teammate was actually my old classmate from Regis. Both of us were overjoyed to have met up again after not seeing each other in over 2 years. We addressed the needs of hundreds of patients that not only included the short-term easement of COVID-related symptoms, but also the mental health and social issues that were affecting our patients. One of our patients had no place to go after discharge from the facility. We, along with many of our other case managers, strive to find placements for patients before discharge. One of our patients was able to get clean from IV drug use and therefore was afraid of leaving the center as he worried he would return to his destructive habits if left unattended. Collaboratively, the team endeavored to acquire accommodations for him and were able to enter him into a drug recovery program. I would likely take up the rest of the luncheon if I tried to recount all the stories and experiences that I was privileged to witness. As this crisis continues to unfold, it will fall to us as nurses to continue to reach out to our communities. We must address the deficiencies in knowledge with evidence-based practice. We must continue to advocate for the needs of our patients and for co-workers plus ourselves. The long-term impacts of this virus are far-reaching and will likely take years to fully surmise the extent to which it affected humanity on this planet. Nevertheless, we must never shy away from our responsibilities. We make our future, and if there's one thing that this virus has taught us, is that our future will be made by working collaboratively, taking the time to understand each other, reaching beyond our differences, and holding to the things that bring unity rather than the things that divide. I leave you with this quote from Dr. Leah Buscaglia. Too often, we underestimate the power of a touch, a smile, a kind word, a listening ear, and an honest accomplishment, or the smallest act of caring, all of which have the potential to turn a life around. Let this never be said of us. We are the world, and we are in this together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justin. We are so grateful for your willingness to be here and to share your experiences with us. And I would say your patients are all very lucky.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Karina, also. So at this time, does anyone have any questions for our healthcare heroes? You can submit them the same way to Molly. Any takers? Okay, well, with that, thank you all once again for joining us today for our annual Cape Cod Luncheon in this virtual format. As very special thanks once again to Justin and Karina, our healthcare heroes, for being here and sharing their experiences. We really hope that we can be together next summer. I fingers crossed, I think it'll happen. But until then, please stay in touch with us. We'll have lots of virtual events coming up for the fall. And if there is, anything you want to see or hear, or presenters you want to hear from, topics you want to hear about, please reach out to anyone in the Office of Institutional Advancement. We're here for you. We want to hear your feedback. We want to provide the best, most engaging programming that we can. So thank you so much again for being here, and please enjoy the rest of your summer. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.